Welcome to the Better Brave podcast, where you get to hear unique stories from guests like you who choose to live bravely outside of their comfort zones. I'm Candace Dudley, your host, former teacher turned online business mentor and podcaster. This podcast is for you if you're committed to living life on purpose, no more following the rules of society. Go hit the follow button if you haven't yet, and tune in every Tuesday for a new episode. All right, I'm back, and I have the biggest business system hack that I use. It's not going to be a secret anymore. No gatekeeping here, as promised, like always. And that is a combination of guided meditation and guided journaling. Now, before you're like, hang up, click this off, goodbye, see you later, not listening to this episode, let me explain. As an entrepreneur, I hear time and time again, hey, don't forget to rest. You have to take pauses. You got to rest. You got to take time off. I would try to sit with myself and pause and sit there doing nothing. And I would always have anxiety spiking and just not feel good. Like it did not feel good to do that. And I would wonder, okay, that's all great in theory. What am I supposed to be doing? What is this? Like I'm not getting great insights and clarity by sitting here spiraling in my own thoughts, right? Here is something that if you're like me and sitting with yourself is uncomfortable, I think it's because we're millennials and we were taught to kind of push our emotions down, not let people see our emotions, not take up too much space, make people uncomfortable. Now, we know more, so we can do better. We don't know what we don't know. We're unlearning that, right? So that uncomfortable feeling, it gets less. Okay, I promise. It gets less and less. The more you do it though, here is a thing you can do during it. This helped guide me. These things helped guide me through this. What taking these meditation and guided journaling pauses do, at least for me and for the people I work with, for my entrepreneurial friends, it helps hold space for new ideas and clarity and inspiration. We call it leaving room for magic. It's holding space for those next pieces to come into play. Because when our schedules are jam-packed full, there is no room for any clarity or any next steps or things to come into play. And so we end up spinning our wheels. Probably like, why does this fit under a business system hack? Because this is where, when our plates as entrepreneurs get really full, these pauses, these moments when we journal and meditate and sit with ourselves, this is where we get to decide what things can stay on our plate, what things get delegated, what things are done for this season, what can we drop, what can we stop doing. We stay aligned, and it gives us a chance to make really purposeful decisions and be intentional and stay in an aligned place, which is what we all want to do. If hopefully that's your goal, is when you're running your own business, you're an entrepreneur, or even living your life, you are staying in this place that feels aligned with you because you are pausing, because you are in touch with yourself. Getting the clarity for your next steps comes in these moments of pause. I like to say pauses are productive. We can feel lazy or we can feel some type of way about taking time off. I'm not saying that I don't binge some Netflix sometimes or, zone out and scroll social media. Of course, those things happen. But the more that I can use my pause to do things like meditate and journal or be really purposeful in doing something creative that's holding that space open, that's not just checking out on a device, the more that the inspiration and the clarity for what to do next in my business comes into play. This first started for me about 8 years ago when I had my first taste of entrepreneurship, and I journaled very early on because they told us to write out our goals, and like my coach said to do that. And so I would write gratitude out, I would write affirmations out, I would write goals out. I was journaling very early on, and I would journal and then I would end up like throwing away a lot of journals because I hated clutter, and I would get partway through them, I'd be like, I wish this journal had this piece to it, or it's missing this, or like I wish it just was like this, and I didn't like it. And so none of them really fit my needs. And so I actually made 2 years ago my own journal for the first time, and I published it on Amazon KDP because it is free to do that. And I have a whole training. If you have an idea like that you want to publish onto Amazon KDP, now they do take a little bit of costs when, printing costs and things like that when people actually purchase, but it's the easiest way to get a product like that of your own up onto a site where people can actually purchase it and get it published for very minimal cost. So anyway, I'll link that in the show notes for you if that's of interest to you. But I made my own journal, but I still felt there was this piece that while I was journaling, or if I'd missed some days, or if I couldn't get that much out in my journal, that there was this missing piece. And I felt really called to start a meditation coaching certification certification. It was this 3-month class that I took. I had just left the classroom and I was really drawn to it, never really thinking that I would coach someone through meditation. That wasn't really on the table. I just knew that I wanted it for myself. And so I ended up having to write all kinds of different scripts and recordings of meditations of myself, submitting them for this class. I loved it. I soaked it all up. I just gobbled that class right up. And I started sharing the meditations that I was creating with my friends. I had done other people's guided meditations before, but I always felt like, okay, great. Then I had to kind of go and find a journal later on, or I would do meditations and then not journal, or I would journal and not do meditation. I just felt like it just was a little bit clunky. And I had made actually 21 days of meditations and journal prompts, and I put them kind of in a PDF. Some of you were in it. It was called Burnout to Balance. And the idea is great, but I just felt it could be more user friendly. You had to go listen to the audio for the meditation. Then you had to go back to your PDF and find your journal prompts and pull that out. And I just wish that it was all in one place, and I really wasn't seeing that. So I started figuring out how I could take my audios and make them into videos to have on YouTube. So I figured that out, and then I thought, well, I'm just going to add in the guided journal prompts at the end of the meditation so that someone could just hit play, sit down, and do the whole thing. So then I started using them for myself, and I liked them. I shared them with my friends. My friends would have me create things like that for their events that they were running, to open an event with that. And when Align Business Collective that I co-lead, when we hosted our retreat back in May, I made them for the morning so that our guests could start with that for their morning. People started saying, where can I get more of these? And at the time I was like, well, this is just like something I do for fun. It's not really serious. Now I absolutely have a spot where you can get more of these. I have my three favorite guided meditations and journal prompts. I'll link them in the show notes, but they're totally free. I just want people to experience it and try it because it was the combination that was perfect for me. It was the system that my business was missing. I mean that in that I could start this and do this in the morning, which is great. If I did it in the afternoon or sometimes even in the evening, it also still worked because it was my chance to pause. And it was my chance, like it's going to be your chance, to take inventory through your journaling and clearing your headspace and just really grounding and getting in touch with yourself and asking yourself, what do I like right now? What is going well? What's not going to stay on my plate? And that's your chance in this type of setting for new ideas, for you to edit and evaluate what's going on and reflect and make decisions and take aligned next steps versus just spinning your wheels, throwing spaghetti at the wall and checking off every box as it comes, no matter if you've ever thought about if that box should be checked in the first place or even be on the list in the first place. This allows you that space. That is why I swear to you, and I live by this, that this is the business systems hack that you are missing 100%. Whether it's 10 minutes, if you can push it up to 30 minutes, whatever, those few minutes are huge. They will be impactful because it's easy to get sucked into belief that the answers are out there in the world somewhere, and we keep looking for them and searching for them and just finding that one more thing that we could learn or we could get better at or that someone would tell us. The reality is the answer is already within you. You have the answers of what is right for you. You have it already in you, but we've already been taught for so long to find it in a book or find it somewhere else. We haven't been taught enough or reminded enough that we already possess the answer. So take the pause. Let me know how you like it. Send me a DM on Instagram at Candace Dudley. Tag me. Do whatever. I love hearing from you. And if you're liking the episodes, please take a couple seconds and tap the stars below and leave a review. Hey, thanks for being here. I love being able to highlight entrepreneurial journeys because no two are the same. To grab my free sales page planner or to book a discovery call with me, head to the show notes. Finally, please leave a quick review so I can continue this work. See you next week.